Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know me and what we've done, we have specialized in addressing the wastewater management needs of unsewered communities for the last 40 years. And we stumbled onto, if you will, the Nitrex technology that was developed by the University of Waterloo in Canada, John Cherry and William Robertson, and hydrogeologists know of Friesen Cherry, and we think it hits the sweet spot. In my professional opinion, this technology, without this technology, we would be confronting sewer in the world. To achieve a water quality requirement. So it's a critical step, and that's the reason why we've been, bringing it to the marketplace over the last 12 years, because we think it's an important component of coming up with solutions today. So first I wanted to congratulate the town of Falmouth with putting its money on the table and creating the opportunities for the, technologies that are ready for prime time to have their day. And that the Water Quality Committee has the challenge now of making those determinations of what gets tested when, and of that $2.2 million, how does it get best allocated, et cetera. So what I'm going to speak to you about, and I am a big fan of aquaculture, the oysters, and I'll share with you, we work a lot in the Chesapeake Bay and in Long Island area as well, is that the oyster farming for nitrogen removal is being very actively pursued in a lot of areas. And the Cape would do well to sort of stay current with all of those activities. Ron, I think, provided a good justification of what the numbers are there. So, but there's people that are doing it on the ground as we speak. So it's not just an idea, and it's not just being talked about, they're actually doing it. And that's what I'm going to speak to you about, is what we have been doing for the last 12 years on nitrogen removal from wastewater or wastewater derived as an alternative to what exists today. And the reason is money. It's all about solving the problem in the least costly manner. The bottom line is achieving the water quality standards. We need to do that. And there's commitments, and communities have been doing that for generations. It's nice to see that there is somewhat of a commitment. So what I'm going to say to you is that the Nitrex technology I'm going to speak to you about, or the two types of applications, are components, in our opinion, of an overall optimized plan. They're not the sole piece solution. We don't believe in any sole solution. That's been our legacy for the last 40 years. The real question is, what's the optimal mix of individual on-site and centralized systems, and we've been doing that for 40 years. So that's the question, what's the optimal mix? And now the question is, how do you optimize that over time? And for discussion purposes, knowing the rules and regulations that we're living under, the town has between now and 2015 to decide what to do for them. And by 2015, the town has to have a plan that they're going to go to the, put down serious money, okay, or the major first installment. It'll be in the hundreds of millions of dollars, if you will, commitment. So this next few years is critical for shaking things out and working through the issues. Nothing should be dismissed, but we know quite a bit, and there's a lot of data. When in doubt, this is about data collection. So what we're saying is that the options can be individual, neighborhood, and centralized wastewater. Falmouth is an example of that. The town of Mashpee is doing that as well. We believe these can be integrated with other options to provide fail-safe approach. It could be integrated with the urine diversion approach. Redundancy is always a good thing in engineering. We also believe the big picture that alternative sewer are really the critical technique for cost saving. When you need to sewer, you really, in our opinion, should be looking at the alternative, and we believe the septic tank effluent collection system is really the way to go. And be happy to get into the whys. Low carbon impact and low cost. And we've engineered 40 miles of them. over the last 30 years. So, and we've engineered the others as well. Now, just to talk about wastewater, I'm going to be technical. I'm going to talk text, and I'm going to talk money. So the way it works in a individual property, as well as in a neighborhood system, even in a large system, the way the treatment system works, the septic tank exists, basically a primary clarifier. The septic tank effluent gets treated in a what we call the nitrifying unit or a biofilter. Typically, it's a recirculating media filter. Okay, there's a number of those technologies on the market, and then it goes through the Nitrex filter. The Nitrex filter is a wetland in a box. It's a living system in the box. Our experience is using constructed wetlands. It is not in the emergent plant, it's in the roots is where the action is. And so we've engineered that action in this, if you will, box. We can make it look like a wetland, or we can have it contained under a parking lot. Okay, and again, construct the wetlands for nitrogen removal, it's all in the roots. If it's in the emergent part, you gotta harvest a lot. Okay? And they do work during the winter. It's temperature. Obviously, the lower the temperature, the slower they are. And then from there, it's either to a drain field, to a discharge point, etc. Now that could be, again, an individual system, or a large treatment system, or a large community system, with a septic tank effluent collection system, and we've done that. And we know cost, because our clients demand that. Nobody's gonna get free. And the critical issue with all of these things, one can have all the duct tape and all of that stuff, and I had a lot of deja vus when Julie brought that slide up, but it better be under budget, otherwise there's gonna be blood. So this is a listing of the Nitrex applications. And that's what the public wants, is do it at the best value. But you'll see here, the performance is there. It's been there for the last 10 years, it's over 90% removal, effluent quality is ±3. That is considered the limit of technology. The most sophisticated centralized treatment plant, rule of thumb, is not going to get below 3. But we're saying with this technology, you can do that on an individual basis. Not can do that, have done it for years. Now, what's it look like? So, and this is Maryland and Virginia, Chesapeake Bay, where we've done a lot of our work. They put their money as well with about this, and they've had a toilet tax that they like to describe, that everybody puts $30 into the system. In terms of customer acceptance that was discussed, they had a hard time giving that money away for free when they started, okay? And the state people were out advocating and basically trying to convince people to take it. Okay? Now it's so popular that there's a waiting list and it's based upon income. So the grant is can be, and it's always previously was always 100%. Now it's based upon income. But basically, these are retrofit systems that are ideal for Falmouth and other Cape communities, because 50% of the houses typically were built since 1995. And in 1995, we all know, Title V came in, and design and construction standards are now good, okay? So we don't have a legacy of bad cesspools, et cetera, out there. So one can retrofit into an existing system by dropping in a pump in a tank. This is the Advantex unit, putting in the Advantex unit on top of it, or on the side, and then the effluent from that goes to the Nitrex filter, and from there goes into the drain field. So one can slide it in, if you will. $25,000 for a turnkey cost, and we're looking at a footprint of 100 square feet. It's pretty small. That's the smallest one that's on the market.